G'day mates! Today's video is going to be covering this insane new update. It has honestly more content than some seasons, so I'm going to let you guys know everything that's new and everything you may have missed in this Tilted Towers update. We obviously have Tilted Towers coming back to the game, the dinosaurs emerging around the map, the MK7 assault rifle getting a big nerf, the Ranger assault rifle getting a big buff, we have the armored walls and the shield kegs being added to competitive, the armored walls concerning a lot of people about how that's going to affect the game, the Spider-Man mythic got a really big buff, which has surprised quite a lot of people. We got information on the new covert canyon or grotto 2.0, as well as the mythic SMG, and we have leaks of a new heavy shotgun, which honestly, for those of you guys who want the pump and the spaz back, will make you very happy. This is going to be a crazy new shotgun if they release it the way they're working on it right now. There's a lot to talk about. Let's just jump into it. Let's start off with obviously the main one. Tilted Towers is back in the game. It's OG Chapter 1 Tilted. It's pretty much exactly the same. The location's a little bit different. Obviously, there's the water with the lake now, but it is tilted. It is so much fun to drop at, but it is an absolute nightmare. You already know this. There is like 70 people dropping here every game. It's super laggy. Your frames are dumping through the floor. I have things like this happening to me where people are just teleporting across the screen because the game can't keep up, but we got Tilted back in the game, and it's super fun. It's super nostalgia to drop at. I think games are going to be pretty dead for a while now, as half the lobby just keeps dropping there to the point where everyone's dead when first zone closes. As the hype for Tilted dies down a little bit, I think it'll be a bit more fun to drop there. Right now, it is just chaos trying to get the first gun you can and survive, but it is a lot of fun. I'm very, very excited to see it back in the game. I think it's going to be good for competitive. It adds a lot of loot to the map. The mid-map area already had a decent amount of loot. You had good teams already dropping there, like you had Acorn and Miro dropping there on NA, trying to hold it down until it came back. Now that it's back in the game, I think maybe 2 to 3 teams could drop here. At least 2 teams could definitely drop here, get the loot and rotate out, or take a bit of a spawn fight. So it has added more loot to the map. It's just a really fun drop spot. You guys have probably already dropped there and already know, but I obviously have to kick off the video talking about Tilted being back. The next biggest addition to the game is Terry, the dinosaur. I'm not taking Colombo, it is Terry. Not only is it Terry, the new item is the Terry berry. It's too perfect. We now have Terry berries in the game. I don't want to hear anything about Colombo or Colombo berries. And Terry is not in competitive. He is only in pubs. And honestly, this feels insane. Like, you walk up to Terry, he is massive. He looks so high detail. He is just such a cool addition of Fortnite. They really stepped it up. This new update genuinely feels like a new season. There is that much content. There's a few cool things you can do with Terry. You can jump on his back and ride him around, but you can't like direct him, and he doesn't go very fast. But the main reason why you can jump on his back is because he has a blowhole. Yes, a blowhole that you can jump in and shoot up like a geyser, pull your glider, and then fly away. It's super weird, but it's super cool. The other main thing you can do with Terry is you can actually feed him those berries. You throw them in front of him, he sucks them in, eats them, and then he shoots out loot from the blowhole. It's really cool. Like I said, it's only in pubs, not in competitive, but he just feels awesome. Like, you're around Terry and it just looks so visually pleasing. Like, I'm not someone to really get caught up in graphics or how beautiful something looks, but Epic has done such a good job in the design of Terry. He just looks and feels really, really cool. We had some pretty significant weapon balances, and this is in competitive and public matches. We have the changes to the MK7 build damage. Each rarity of the gun is now doing far less damage, usually about 3 less damage to builds on average at each rarity, which is a big nerf to how it is just spraying at the builds. We had the Ranger rifle damage to builds increased, so the Ranger rifle now does more damage to builds while the MK7 does less. And we also had the Ranger assault rifle buffed with its accuracy. It now has reduced bullet spread or reduced bloom, and if you stand still, it is even more accurate. So really cool to see them buffing the Ranger assault rifle. I think it's already a really good item, and if it was in any other season that wasn't a season with the MK7, I think it would be an assault rifle of choice. It's still, in my opinion, a bit odd because I can run the MK7 that is absolutely disgustingly good at all ranges, but also good hip fire in the box, so I don't have to run an SMG or I don't have to run 3 weapons, where if I run the Ranger and a pump shotgun, I just feel like I don't have that spray potential. special. So you can run just obviously the Ranger and SMG, but I'm still having fun running shotguns, not just going full spray meta. As far as the damage to walls changes with the MK7, I think that's a good change. I think the amount of damage the MK7 does to structures has always been an issue, but I still find it really strange that Epic is changing everything about the MK7 except for the fire rate, the main thing most people are asking for, just like the Stinger SMG, so bullets don't go through walls. It looks like Epic wants these guns to stay really high fire rates. So as far as those of you guys who are hopeful for an SMG nerf or an MK7 nerf, don't like the spray meta, don't like bullets going through your walls, it kind of looks like Epic wants it to stay. They've done probably like a third or fourth update now to the MK7 and are still yet to reduce the fire rate, and that is very telling around what their thought process is for these guns. As far as other major changes to competitive, we have the shield keg being added to competitive, which I'm a fan of. I think it's a cool item. I think it is very, very balanced in the game. I'm happy to see it go into competitive. It just adds more meds to the loot pool. It means, especially in a team game mode like duos, you can use it to heal up your meds on spawn, and then you can carry minis and bigs or use them end game. I just think it is a very balanced item. I'm happy to see it go into comp. The second item, armored walls. This is one that a lot of people are telling me they think is going to be great in competitive. It's really going to help combat the spray meta. You're not going to get shot through your builds as much. I think this is going to be a terrible addition to comp. I've said this before. I'm happy to have fun things in competitive like the Spider-Man mythic that I do think is reducing the skill gap. It's letting worse players do better, but it's a bit of fun, so I'm okay with that. The armored walls, I don't think they're going to be fun, and I don't think they're going to do very well for the game. They only drop in stacks of 2 now, but they are floor loot, so it's not uncommon to walk out of spawn with 6 or 8 of them, and sometimes end game, I'm imagining in a major tournament, people on low ground are going to have like 10 or 20. Can you imagine it's like a 1v3, Sentin's on low ground to win grand finals. There's 3 players above him. There's no chance he wins this, and he just puts down 5 armored walls and starts med misting in zone. Like, how? I just don't know. I am really confused why people think this will be good in competitive. I get the idea of like getting third-partied mid-game and you put down an armored wall to like block them off and you stick a res on your teammate. Like, I understand, but I think the uses of that are just going to be outweighed by how dumb it's going to be in like high ground builds. People like building up for high ground and just reinforcing it with 20 armored walls. People on low ground just building giant floors of armored walls. You'll be trying to get through endgame tarps and you'll just hit an armored wall and you'll die to zone. Like an instant built wall that has 2,500 durability. It's 5 times the strength of fully built metal that you can just place instantly. I just don't think something like that should be in competitive. Or maybe dial it back. Maybe only make it a full built metal wall, like it's 500 health. That would still be really strong, but it wouldn't be quite as broken. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. This one is one that I see a lot of people disagreeing with me on, and I get it. I know it might help with some of those third party and spray meta situations, but I can just see so many instances where it's going to be super, super broken. Or even just spawn fights. Imagine someone's based up the building across from you in a spawn fight. They get 2 armored walls, so they put down an armored wall and an armored ramp, and now you have to do 5,000 damage to get them off that. Otherwise, they just sit there and just keep beaming you. Like, we'll have to see how it plays out in competitive, but I am quite scared to see this go into the loot pool. There are now 2 major changes to the Spider-Man mythic. The first one I'm not a huge fan of, and I think it's honestly a bug. When you eliminate players now who are holding a Spider-Man mythic, it drops with its full uses. So if you eliminate them and they only had 1 use on it, it drops with 80. So we're gonna have just max stack Spider-Man mythics all over the place, and pretty much you can use them as much as you like, which you already really could because there's so many, and you're guaranteed to get a fresh one as soon as you kill someone holding it. So, I mean, in competitive, it's already a debated topic whether Spider-Man should be in at all. I find it really, really fun and entertaining. I know why some pros don't like it, because it, it's taking a lot of the skill out of rotating, letting a lot of players make dumb plays where they hold you and then just rotate with their Spider-Man mythic. People don't like that you can just run away with it so well, but with them now dropping full stacked every single time, I think these issues are going to be even worse. But again, I kind of have a feeling this is a bug. It sounds like a bug on Epic's part. The second change I'm kind of okay with, but some people seem really scared. You can now stack Spider-Man mythics, which has some really useful situations. Let's say you're in duo and you're doing a split drop. One of your teammates drops 1 location and then you drop the Spider-Mans and you bring them one, is one very good addition. Or if you're going to go reboot a teammate, you can now bring them a Spider-Man mythic so they can rotate away faster and go find loot and get material. But again, a lot of people who aren't a fan of Spider-Man know this is just going to make Spider-Mans even more likely to be in the game, and people are going to carry multiple of them off spawn. So again, let me know what you think in the comments. I'm not so worried about that that second change, but I think the first one, dropping full stack Spider-Man every time, is a little bit interesting. The other main addition to the game is the grenade launcher, and it has also been buffed. It says the grenade launcher is back and we've made some tweaks to its responsiveness. Projectiles now explode after their first bounce and fire more directly at your target. You can find grenade launchers from rare chests, supply drops, and sharks. So, I mean, it's in pubs, it's not in competitive. It's kind of a fun item. I'm not a huge fan of explosives because I just find them not really that fun to verse, but in pubs, they add a cool element. You go for like bank shots, you shoot them off the wall, they bounce back. It's pubs, it's a bit of fun. Absolutely no issue with that. I'm happy they didn't put it in competitive. I don't know why they tweaked it though. They've made it really, really strong. Like the grenade launcher is so much more responsive now and feels a lot cleaner to use, which I guess is their intention, and it looks like it's harder to get now. You only get it from rare chests and supply drops as well as sharks, but yeah, it's back in the game. It's pubs though. It's a bit of fun. There's also been a pretty significant change to low meshes on performance mode. This seems to happen all the time whenever there's a major update. We seem to have performance mode or one of the rendering modes just break. A lot of people seem to like the low meshes now. I'm not the biggest fan. It looks really like mobile now. It doesn't look like mobile like low meshes looked before. It looks like mobile. If you play on low meshes, you know what I mean, or you watch any streamers playing on it. I've switched off low meshes back to high meshes because I'm just not a huge fan of how it looks. My awareness has always been a little bit worse on low meshes because you can't see through the builds, and now it just looks, in my opinion, a little bit uglier, but it's personal preference. Let me know in the comments, do you guys like the change to low meshes? Do you not like it? It does look a bit different, but like a lot of these updates, it could just be a bug like we had with the bubble wrap builds, and Epic will revert it back to the way it was before. The performance mode, especially as the render mode, seems to break a lot with these major updates, so maybe it wasn't intentional. Now, there was a lot that was promised in this update by the leakers that we didn't actually get. It looks like the new Covert Canyon POI has been delayed for a later date, but we did get some information surrounding it. It is codenamed as Catus Cave POI, and if you're a huge fan of the lore of Fortnite, you might know that Catus actually refers to the Devourer, that giant monster in Chapter 1 that had Polar Peak on top of it. Yeah, apparently that is going to have something to do with the new POI, and there's going to be a location right next to Tilted that looks like its skull that is being excavated out of the ground. And remember, on the edge of the map, right out near the water, we have the robot mech from Chapter 1's arm that's been there since the start, and none of us really know why. So it looks like we're getting a link back into the Chapter 1 storyline to do with the Devourer. And we also now have game files and audio files being added to the game that make it sound like some kind of a monster in the distance. So we are going to be getting a major POI update at some time in this season for this Covert Canyon, and it's to do with all the drilling and the digging, and now it's linked into the Devourer as well. Like, this is getting ridiculous. We also have leaks of a potential heavy shotgun coming back to the game. I say a heavy shotgun, not the heavy shotgun, because it looks like it's getting some major changes. iFireMonkey and Hypex both talking about how the weapon has now been leaked in the game files to now shoot a single slug. Now, the stats that Hypex leaked sound absolutely terrible. Like, this gun doesn't sound like it would function at all. The damage is just not high enough to be worth what they're advertising it as. Like, it just doesn't do enough. But the idea of having a shotgun that only shoots a single slug that does a lot of consistent damage is something I can get behind. It's kind of like a shotgun with really, really tight bullet spread. Instead of having to hit all the pellets, you just have to hit one slug and it does a lot of damage. I kind of imagine it working like a combat shotgun with that really, really small reticle where if you hit your shot, you do crazy damage, but if you miss, you don't do any damage at all. It could be a really cool way to combat people jumping in with SMGs and add a new skill ceiling to hitting one pumps and clips. So I'm very excited to see if we get this version of the heavy shotgun, but it isn't in the game as we speak right now. Alright guys, that does it for another video. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please chuck a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.